Hey there. So I got a comment recently, 19 hours ago, that I really liked. Said, can you please make a video about Greatsword? I'm guessing they want a video on what happened to Greatsword, which doesn't really get spoken about too much. Seeing as how Greatsword won the championship for 2020, both players in the grand finals used Greatsword. Greatsword was seen by most of the pros in the entire tournament. Leading up to the tournament, there was a patch that dropped Jaeyoon and dropped Greatsword, which is kind of odd that they drop a patch with the most like broken weapon to be released and then allowed it for the championship. Not the best move on BMG's part, but the weapon was well designed, interesting to watch, but incredibly overpowered in the damage section. And the players we saw in the top spots were Wrenched and Sandstorm. At the time, they were both very good, but Wrenched had been a little out of the scene for a while, so it was crazy to see him get to the grand finals. A lot of people believed Greatsword was very much a carried weapon, but I mean, these two people have been in grand finals a lot. And if anyone has a good track record against Sandstorm in grand finals, it's actually Wrenched. He may have not faced Sandstorm the most, but he has a better win record than most against him in grands. And the only Greatsword character that was available at the time was currently, or previously, Jaeyoon, whose secondary weapon was Sword. And if we're being honest here, a matchup between Sandstorm and Wrenched in Sword goes to Wrenched handedly. I'd argue, undoubtedly, Wrenched would win 90% of the time. He's a Surrey player, and he understands Sword very well. He understands neutral with Sword very well. And Sandstorm's a very passive player, so to be able to have Sword as your secondary weapon was great. But he lost. So in a matchup where they're probably equal amount of time on Greatsword and then unequal amount of times on Sword, they both made it to grand finals, and then Sandstorm won with Greatsword. He probably had a better understanding of the weapon, can pick it up faster. He is a top pro. That's how it works. But what happened to this weapon? Why did it win grand finals and then the tournament leading up to it, which was Winter Championship 2021, the entire cast of top 4 was using Axe, Hammer, or Petra. There was no Greatsword to be seen. Greatsword was nowhere. And you could argue it got nerfed. So yes, the damage was nerfed. I don't know specifically about some of the frame data or specifically about some of the combos, but the damage was nerfed heavily on Greatsword. Regardless, the weapon was, and still is, the most recently designed weapon from a dev who plays a lot of the game, and it was made to be very fluid. It could cover above it, it could cover beneath it. It had advanced mechanics such as Dare and Grounded Dare, which I'd argue is advanced because I think it's fairly unique mechanic, and it flows into itself very well, and it was very dependent on dodge reads and playing the game fundamentally correct. So how did this weapon cease to perform so well? The obvious answer to look towards is damage. The damage was heavily reduced, therefore you weren't being carried by the weapon. The reward for hitting a simple string was too high. It was too much. Way far too much. If we look at another string weapon like Guitars, the damage output is very, very low, but if you string multiple times together, the damage racks up. Kind of like adding droplets of water into a bucket, and then eventually the bucket overflows, getting the kill. You know how it goes. Greatsword would fill that bucket up very quickly, but it was not seen in a single tournament afterwards. Everyone was expecting Mako to be this powerhouse of a character because you build up the damage with Guitars and then you finish them off the Greatsword. However, the really weird thing about Greatsword is without damage, Greatsword doesn't kill nearly as consistently. So if you think about it, Greatsword requires there to be 2 hits and then a kill. Not using SIGs and not using air moves. You would hit someone, the second hit follows up true, and then you would follow with a 3rd hit, which would be the kill confirm. Dodge is up every 3 seconds. So to get someone to dodge, then hit them twice, and then get the kill confirm is not the easiest window to hit. However, if you hit them twice, then they dodge, then you get the read, that's the kill confirm that would set up. But it no longer has that insane damage to make up for the hard to set up kill confirm. So you would hit them twice, it would put them into like a darker yellowish color after a while, and then the kill confirm would rarely kill. So you're having to download the dodge read, consistently get them on the ground, hit the dodge read, and then kill them with a fairly intensive weapon that requires a lot of time to learn the most optimal combos. And even if you're just using the most basic combo, side light, D light, end light, it's not killing all the time. But once again, this is a fighting game. I'd argue Brawlhalla weapons only go from S tier to B tier. There's no lower. You can win a tournament using any weapon. If you get the dodge reads right, while those chances may be low, you still win the match. An example I'd like to reference is Wrenched, the Allfather, god of Guitars, dropped Guitars and was no longer the guy on Guitars anymore. Like he didn't drop Guitars completely, but he wasn't playing it as consistently. He wasn't winning as much. Wasn't even playing Brawl as much. I would like to point out that Guitars is still a great weapon. A popular pro, content creator in the community is Pavelski. He's an amazing Guitars player, and I'm fairly confident I can find some games to put on in the background of him playing Guitars on Lucian. Lucian is his Guitar pick, and his Guitars is great because Guitars, regardless of the damage, is a string weapon weapon that catches dodge reads and punishes on it, and doesn't even have like insane kill confirms. But the point of mentioning that is that you don't need an insane amount of damage or, you know, kill confirm potential to make a good weapon. Any weapon can still be viable and still be usable. The thing that I do want to focus on is that because of the reduced damage in Greatsword, getting those kills was a lot harder and a lot less visible to the eye to see. And when you don't get rewarded for hitting a lot of combos with as much damage as you'd like, it is no longer fun to play the weapon. Even when you get the dodge reads, you're not doing as well with the weapon because you're not getting as much damage in return. If you're not having fun, no one's gonna play it. If no one's playing it, the weapon will get nowhere. Greatsword was designed effectively, fluidly. It's new, it's great, it's cool to watch. It stuffs out a bunch of other great weapons by stuffing out. I mean, if you get stuffed out on cannon by lance or spear, a weapon with a greater reach, they can really punish you until you have your dodge back up. If you get stuffed out by Greatsword, there's a high chance of you dying if the player catches one right dodge read. It's hit one, hit two, wait for the dodge. If you dodge and you get hit again, if you spot dodge, they're obviously going to wait for the dodge. If you dodge out, it's probably your best chance. If you dodge up and out, you know, it's probably your second best chance. And if you dodge up again, they can catch it with the nair. So it's got the right dodge reads. If they stuff you and then catch the next dodge read, high chance you're dying, that or going deep red. The weapon's really good, like really good fundamentally and really well designed, but the insane reward it used to have, insane kill potential it used to have, is gone, and therefore no one's playing it. And when a weapon is untouched and unplayed, it gets no attention, and people will just view it as a bottom tier weapon, and like it will go nowhere. And the only person really playing Greatsword occasionally is Hardy, and he's like a 7k earner, sub 7k earner, which is you know, infinitely more than I've ever earned, but it's not enough of a player to really bring the weapon back into the spotlight for good. A popular example of bringing a weapon into the spotlight is cannon, previously viewed as one of the worst weapons in the game until popularized by a pro player, and then everyone realized, wow, this is the best weapon in the entire game that has ever been seen in the game and has amazing combo string and potential, like a crazy good weapon. But the time it takes to find a weapon like that and to get good at it and to make it known is a very long time, and it varies with how good you are at the game. I would argue one of the best things that Greatsword does is if you start getting used to dodge reads and you learn the Greatsword combos, you will soar to platinum. If you know combos, you'll get to platinum. Very simple. And then once you master movement, you'll get to diamond. That's what every single guide says out there. Trust me, that's what they all talk about. Those combos will take you to platinum, and you'll feel like you're getting a lot better at the game. Now, learning combos with any weapon is really fun. Greatsword has like hundreds of combos. I mean, it's Tekken. Greatsword is like the closest thing we'll get to an actual like fighting game difficulty level of memorizing combos. The reality as to why it's still a B tier weapon is because no one's taken the time to make it an S tier weapon. And, you know, S tier weapons are usually broken in some way or another. There was the legendary Gauntlet D-Light Nair recovery combo nerfed. Legendary Qatar grounded dare into D-Light True String that now requires 8 dex combo. All these things were once really overpowered and well known about. And the thing with the Greatsword is they just flat out nerfed the damage. So it's not that the weapon's not good. It still works and everything, just no one's gonna give it the time and day because it's such an extensively deep weapon. So back to this comment, he's like, could you do a video on Greatsword, please? Right? There would be more Greatsword content if people believed in it. So if you want to become that Greatsword guy, I'd say there's a good chance you could become that Greatsword guy. There's Peanut for Smash. He plays like objectively the worst Smash character in the game. There's Lil Mac and Ganondorf, but I bet you if, you know, MKLeo picked up Lil Mac or something, Ganondorf, people would be like, wow, character's broken, you know, it's so overpowered, and maybe you'll get some attention and labbing and all that time. So Greatsword was nerfed, but it's a fighter. It wasn't nerfed to extinction. It's just sitting on the sidelines until someone's like, you know, it's got all the tools to win a game. It just needs the right player behind it. You know, a weapon is a tool. It doesn't do anything sitting there. It's until you like put all that time into it that it starts doing work. So honestly, the future for Greatsword is exciting, as with the future with anything. A little optimistic outlook for the day there. It just requires the right person to go in and see and work it. So you have to be pretty good to get it to work. And there's other weapons that are much easier at getting those dodge reads that can attack quicker. I really like Greatsword. I think it is interesting to see that they made a weapon that requires so much reading, and the fundamentals are built into the weapon. It was designed new and fresh. So I mean, I think it's great. Like if you are bored and want to, you know, feel like you're learning something in life, you can vicariously do it by learning Greatsword. So what happened in Greatsword is it got nerfed, and everyone was just like, it is gone, it's done, out with the win, no longer to be seen. But that is just like the tiny brain gamer toxic mindset that people get into. They see something on YouTube, they see a clickbait video like, oh, this is no longer good, and then everyone drops it. But remember, you were built with a brain and the thinking capacity to think for yourself. If you see something that you personally think is good, go ahead and pick it up. It's probably good. It's not like unusable. You gotta think for yourself sometimes, you know? Even if you're a gold player, your perspective's completely different from a more veteran player, because their mind is so molded into like, this is what works and this is what doesn't work. That it's obviously like a sharper mind, but it's dull to new ideas. So second thing to say is, you know, just because pros drop a weapon, or just because everyone's doing something else, it does not mean it's the right thing to do. Just because you hear something doesn't mean it's true. You know, think for yourself, believe what you're believing is right. Don't be a contrarian. Okay, those people are cringe, right? Where they just like disagree with everything you disagree, but think for yourself and be yourself, and go pick up Greatsword if you want to, if that's what you believe is the thing to do. You know, I play Lin Fei, you know, I think she's cool. I don't play it because she's top of the meta or anything near it. So, and it makes the game a lot more enjoyable, and that's probably why I still play the game today. But yeah, that's what happened to Greatsword, and it's not like it's dead or anything. It's totally playable. This is more of a ranty video to make, just replying to a comment, and I like that he put an idea in the background. Usually, like, I like all the comments, good or bad, because they reflect and tell on some things that I don't see when I'm watching it. Like, I like this or don't like this, so I really like seeing what people like. But this is like can you talk about this? And it's kind of weird when someone asks you to talk about something, because it's like, wow, they want to know my opinion on it. Or not really my opinion. I'm gathering other people's pro opinions, right? And then kind of interpreting them as my own, as a lot of people do. I can show this clip of Elon, like, thinking he solved some problem when literally, like, the news reporter brought it up.
I'd say that's, like, one of the biggest improvements that we've made.
I gotta admit, that was when you were talking about that last time, and I kept thinking about it.
Literally, it was like, literally occurred to me in real time.
Yeah.
It occurred to me while I was explaining it to you.
To him. But yeah, that's the message. Thanks for watching, and we'll see how it turns out. All right, thanks for watching.